So the cylinder, right? If you think about it, it's a rectangle, right? But with curved bottom and curved top. Right? So this is the 2D version, and we want the 3D version, right? The illusion of 3D. Okay. So we're going to make it the same size as the cone, not too big and not too as big as the ball and not too small. If you make it too small, it's going to be harder to shade inside of it. Okay. All right. So we're going to make two vertical lines that are roughly the same length, right? And similar to the cone, we're going to make the whole oval at the bottom and the whole top, right? And just because we don't have any space over here on the left, we're going to make the shadow come over here on the right like we did with the cone, right? So the light again is coming from the left-hand side like it did for the triangle or the cone. Where's the hot spot going to be for our cylinder? Yeah, left top, absolutely, right in here, okay? That means that the bottom right corner will be the darkest part, right? So again, remember I made the whole oval for the bottom? This is to tell us where the back side of our shadow will start or come out of. But it's going to come out of the center here, go out, straight out like this, and then this one's going to also go straight out like this. And remember, the end of our shadow is going to have a curve because it's mimicking this curve right here. Okay. All right, now we can erase this part. We no longer need it. And I'm going to start the bottom left. What number do you think I'm going to be using for the bottom here? Yeah, 6 and 5. I'm going to take this paper and cover it because I don't want to smear my hand all over it. All right. So 6, nice and dark. And as I go up a little bit, it's going to turn into a 5. So I obviously have done this enough to know and remember what each one of these looks like, right? But you should be going back and forth with your eyes and seeing and checking to make sure your values are correct. So you're not going too dark or too light, right? Because there are some people that have an issue with making things darker, or they're afraid of making things darker. Again, I hope you guys are changing how you guys are holding your pencils, right? Depending on what you're making darker or lighter. And remember not to use the Q-tip or the tissue paper until you've put down enough of the values. Right, so I have a 6 here. Right, here I'll use a pencil. 6 here, right? And switches into a 5, right? The 4 along in here, right? 3 and the 4 are kind of blending in up here. So I should be getting really light now, okay? Over on the left-hand side of our cylinder, that left edge. And then the top of our cylinder, as was said earlier, this is going to be the brightest or the hot spot, right? And over here on the right, we're going to go to like a number 2/3 over here. Very subtle. and then it fades out to a 0 over here. Okay, and this is where the Q-tip comes in. Just blend that out. And then you do the same thing for this cylinder itself. Be mindful of the amount of pressure you're putting. You don't want to put too much or too little. We will be getting rid of this outline like we did with the cone, okay, on Tuesday. All right, shadow. Remember to leave a little thin line between the shadow and the object. And then we're going to use number 6 and then number 5, right? These two values should be in your shadow. And number 5 is out here as you get away from the cylinder. Okay. Now I'm going to go in and add little details to make it pop even more. Remember, the number one goal when it comes to shading, no matter what you're shading or with what, is to create that illusion of 3D. That is by far the number one goal. Okay. So again, I have to go back and add more value because the Q-tip ended up taking some of those values off. And remember, you're not only blending it with the Q-tip, you're also going to be taking some off. All right, now we're ready to clean up. So as last time, remember I just took the straight edge of a paper, in this case this little like Post-it that I have, put it along the edge of my cylinder. This edge should not be that dark because the light is hitting that whole edge, right? So it should be pretty light like that. And then the top portion of our cylinder should also not have that dark outline because again the light is touching there. So it should be a subtle line. Right? That's a little more subtle. And clean up the bottom and the shadow. And then I'm going to show you one thing that I didn't do with this class. I did it with I think with third and second period. I forgot to do it or show you guys how to do that. So both of these, the cylinder and the cone, the edges on the left kind of disappear or blend into the background, right? So there's a way and we can make this edge and this edge kind of pop from the paper, from the white paper, right? Because the paper is white and because this side is pretty light, like a 1 and a 0, it fades out and it blends in with the paper. So what I do sometimes, I just take my pencil and fill in right along that edge, really dark. And what I'm doing here is creating what's called contrast to make this really, really light value, a 1 and a 0 on this side. And then in the background, I'm just adding a solid 6 value. And this whole edge of our cylinder will pop, as you can kind of see it happening right there. We shouldn't do it here where the shadow is or here where the other side of the cylinder is because then it would just blend in, right? And it's just a little trick, right? Just to show you that you can see that edge a little better, right? All right, everyone good with this? I'm gonna put it a little bit over here too. And you can also do it on the cone. Here, I'll show you how to do it on the cone. Same thing on the left-hand side. I'm holding my pencil at an angle so that I'm using more of the side of the point. Not rubbing the wood on the paper. Be mindful of that. Now you see how both these left edges pop or come out. Cool.